solo.
And hello! Welcome to Solo Playthroughs! I think someone's here. I don't know. We'll see. Might just be talking to myself as usual, which is totally fine. Look, I'm really excited to get this game on the channel. This is a game I have taken quite a deep dive in recently. I have not played it in a couple weeks or so. If I'm a little fuzzy, you'll be used to it. But I'm sure it will all come back to me pretty quick. For those who don't know, this is pretty much a spiritual successor to One Deck Dungeon. And I like One Deck Dungeon. It's actually grown on me more as a two-player game than a one-player game. I play a lot with my friend Tony. My friend Brian and I will play a game if we have some time for a filler before other friends show up on our Frosthaven nights. But yeah, still playing Frosthaven. We're gonna be done with that, before 2028, hopefully. But woof, uh, we're getting there. Yeah, this game was like kind of on my radar, and I was, kind of like, I probably wasn't gonna pick it up, and then somehow I ended up on some rabbit hole, and they were saying that like there was arguments that it might be better than One Deck Dungeon. It just had a really crappy rule book and blah blah blah. And I was like, all right, let me pick it up. So got it for I picked it up, and then my friend Tony picked it up, and he bought the regular edition, but somehow the company he bought it from sent him the deluxe, and I was like, well, let me do that. So as well. So I ended up getting the Kickstarter version, which is all the kind of chip theory games quality as far as PVC cards. These tokens are not they're not cardboard. They're like little pieces of whatever the heck they are. Same kind of crappy dice from One Deck Dungeon, but again, that's how it all fits in this little box. So, hey, Marty, what's up? Hello, I am still at Start. Just stopped to say hi. All right, rock on. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for stopping in. So I would say, yeah, I like this game a lot more. There were some bad errata issues too. There's like 3 or 4. So depending on who we play as, you might see some crossouts and some writing. I'm gonna for me, like when there's errata in a game, I write it right on the card with a fine tip Sharpie. Like I don't want to deal with another rule book, or I haven't played the game in 6 months. Oh, that was errata, and like I hate that. I just want to write it on, make sure I have it. I started that with Arkham. I know it's horrifying to some people. Why would I write on my games? Yeah, that's. I want to keep the rules straight. Madi says hi. Oh, I'm still at work. Just stopped to say hi. Yeah, I thought there was a missing word there, but thank you for saying hi. All right. So what do we have? I don't know. Yeah, kind of talking about the differences might be easier just to do after. But I think if you picked this up as a fan of One Deck Dungeon and were expecting a game that was very, very, very similar to the point that you could just pick it up right away, you were going to be disappointed because there was definitely a bit of a learning curve. Again, I had played a lot of One Deck Dungeon, and getting my head wrapped around this, I literally one point texted Tony. I was like, I think I'm too stupid for this game because I could not figure out what was going on. And then finally it clicked, and I was like, oh, that's incredibly smart. For me, I do find the game comes alive at the harder difficulties. And what you have, which I think is super cool, is you got again 5 kind of hero civilizations. You have 5 society types. So you have scientists, mathematicians, guardians, explorers, and botanists. That's what I mean by society types. And then you have 5 big bads. The big bads are double-sided. So you have like the easier side of the big bad. So this is very similar to One Deck Dungeon. So you have the easier side where these are all 1 and 2 difficulty, and then the harder side bumps it up 3 and 4 difficulty. I think there was one thread I found, but I could not. I know I read it at some point. I can't find it again, but supposedly one of these should be a 3 and 5 difficulty. I even find the 3 difficulty side. I'd find all the harder sides quite a bit of a challenge. You also there is a little bit of Spirit Island in this, where the matchups, the difficulties are only relative to the matchup, right? So there are some of these guys, some combos of Homeworld and society type that are going to be hard counters to what the big bad's doing, the adversary is doing, and there's some that are going to be especially challenging. So you just don't know. The all of these difficulty ratings should be taken with a grain of salt, because it really depends on what is this. Is there a combo here that it just really works very well against a certain adversary? And I really like that puzzle. I mean, 5 times 5 times 5, you have 125 different combos in this game, and they're all very different puzzles, more or less. And I think that's super cool. So I think we should just get into it. I'm going to, do what I do and just kind of randomize here, and we'll kind of get a game started, and just hopefully get into some of the gameplay. So, I think I don't think I made this too. I wonder if I zoom this in a little bit too far, but we'll make it work. So rolling a die, that is a 1. So we're gonna have the elements, which is good. I find them a bit of a challenge. And they're, again, all these also have a 1 and a 2 player side. So this is not a difficulty setting change. It's just, which one you use if you're playing by yourself or with someone else. And then I rolled a 5, so that's going to be the scientist. So we have the elements scientist, that is on the 1 player side. And as far as our big bad, I rolled a 2. We're going to play the nice. Get right into the deep end of the pool with the rules. We have the Nebel Woober colony fleet, which will be an interesting challenge. We'll try to get 2 games on today, or we might just run it back if this goes super poorly, which it might, and that's fine. So these little tokens here they're a little bit too similar in color for my eyes, and the designs. I mean, oh, dude, they put this the Kickstarter version. I think they just overdid a little bit. They have these like sparkly things that my eyes are like, I can't tell. But these have stars in the middle. These have like more like admiral symbol things. So there are 12 of these. These are how you activate text. If you have text. Silverfear says hello, Brian. And then we're gonna take the elements here, and we're going to put one of then we're going to give them their scientists, and then we're going to have this. So this is our federation level. So our homeworld starts at a federation level of a 1, and we're going to not only want to, we're going to need to systematically increase that as we go. Otherwise we will risk losing, and we'll see that. So what do we have here? So a lot of information on this card. So we have this beautiful picture of a dragon thing, lizard boy, I don't know, but he lives on a planet that has a lot of volcanic activity. Apparently his homeworld is Gamenji. And then he has over here colonies. So the colonies are how you get extra dice to roll. So he starts the game, or she, I don't know, they start the game with 3 yellow dice, 2 pink dice, and 5 blue dice. So all the different homeworlds. And with these glasses on, I can't always see. Again, these are quasi-medical reasons I'm wearing these. These are not a fashion statement. So I'm preventing myself from having ocular migraines, which would not make for a good stream, I promise. So we have 10 of these. We're also going to start every round. We're going to be able to gather 2 of our techs, and then we have a resource here. That resource is fuel, and we'll see how resources come into play. There are some there's some society type that really, 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 really cares about resources. Mostly for our purposes, there might be some techs that care about how many other resources we have of a certain type. Here we have our starbase. A lot of stuff is going to happen on the starbase. Primarily is where we can create fleet and where we can do some studies to get more science. And then we're going to spend science to do certain things. All right. So we start. So these are double sided. This is starbase class 1. Starbase class 2, Starbase class 3, Starbase class 4. 4 is the highest starbase you could have. Now, um, by the star basis, there's an upgrade cost. You can spend 8 science to upgrade this to Starbase Class 2. Now, the improvements in the beginning of this, you can only have one of these little blue tokens here, and I forget what the heck they're called, but we're going to need them to do certain things. When we upgrade our starbase, we'll be able to have 2 of them, which is important. That means we can do twice as many things. And we get to the level 3, we get 3 of them, and level 4, you guessed it, you get to have a whopping 4 of them. Now, the other thing that happens is it becomes cheaper not only to create fleet, it also becomes cheaper to do research and get more science. And we'll see. This is the worst explained part of the rulebook. It's really, 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 really bad. Um, like shockingly bad. So that's a thing. But we did figure it out. There was again a new rulebook that they put on their website, Asmadi Games. Not to be confused with Asmodee Games, and they explained it a little bit better. But yeah, that was the hardest thing for me to really figure the hell was going on. So I'm going to take these tech tokens and put them off to the side here. I'm going to put one of these here. Now you're supposed to gather this every turn. I just put it there, and you'll kind of see what that means as we go. And then we'll have, try to think about making room for this video. So bear with me. I could probably have this for start. This is going to be complicated. Now, there are these 4 circles on our homeworld and our society type. This is where our federation tokens are going to go as we upgrade our federation. Now, we don't have to necessarily get to level 5. It would be nice. It helps certain things. But as we do certain achievements, we're going to be able to take these off. Now, again, there could be a lot of synergy between those two depending on your combination. This isn't going to be that too much. And actually, these are going to be kind of working against each other a little bit. So we'll kind of see how that works. Now, our first achievement, if we can get, we have 10 dice in our pool. If we can take over more colonies, which are going to be on these cards here, but if we get more colonies, we'll tuck these into the side. This is going to look very familiar for one deck dungeon players. If we can get up to 20 in our dice pool, well, we just would automatically unlock that. The other ways we can unlock the other 3 of these all have to do with our society type. Now, if we have 4 activated texts, we could do that. 5 activated texts, and if we do 7, then if at any point in the game we get 7 of these things, and instead of using them to activate text, if we just literally spend them, and I wrote this, it was an errata here to clarify, you have to spend them during the action phase. So I would just take all 7 of these and be like, I'm not going to use these to activate text, I'm just going to spend them. At that point, we can get that last Federation token, like so. Other information. So there's 2 texts that we start the game with access to. One is going to be on our home world card here. So I can take one of these and do this. It says resolve the starbase and discard any dice used. And what that means is normally any dice you put up there only resolve at a very specific time. This is saying, oh, you can resolve that now, which would not only clear off anything at a time, clear them off that you could do them again, but what it also would do is it would maybe give you access to something that you really needed to get something done this round as opposed to waiting the next round. And again, now some of this won't make sense until I start playing. Here is a tech that says we can spend a fleet to launch a probe. So that's cool. So we can take one of our fleets from here, we can spend it, and we can launch a probe. Launching a probe is basically just taking the top card of the deck and tucking it over here in the corner of our starbase as science. Now these cards will range from 2 to 4 science, so that would have been a 4. That could have been super helpful. 1 fleet for 4 science indeed is a very nice exchange, and there's a whole bunch of things that we're going to use our science for otherwise. Every society type has a special ability. This says that we can use these tokens as if they were stars, and it says that we can use two of these stars as if they were one of these. And there would be that there are times you would want that exchange, but that's super helpful. It also means that, hey, since we can use these as stars, if we can really upgrade our star class really quick, it's going to be a lot easier to get to 7 stars that we could spend, so we can get that Federation thing off the thing. So immediately though, as I'm looking at this, we're going to need to do a couple of things. So again, we take these cards, we can put them here for colonies, or if we defeat one of these cards, which we'll talk about, we can put it down. That's it. We'll put more new text down there. So I'm going to need to get at least 3 cards here to get more text so I can actually do these 2 things. But I'm also going to need a lot more colonies so I can get the 20 dice in my pool. So I have to decide, when I defeat a card, again, if you're a 1-deck dungeon player, this will make sense. Am I taking it as a colony, or am I taking it as a tech? And those will be the interesting decisions that we will have to make. I'm also going to need to at least find at least some of these colonies that are going to give me more of those stars, so I can get the 7 stars and spend those. But again, if I just upgrade my star base pretty quickly, I can use those as if they were stars to get that Federation, right? So lots of things going on there, right? So again, immediately, if you're a 1-deck dungeon player, like, holy crap. Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore, for sure. I'm going to put the rest of these up here. I'm going to try to keep them on screen because how many dice are left in the pool can be important. So that's, yeah, there's 6 pink dice there. We got our 5 yellow dice. We have our black dice. Again, you can make black dice just like you can in 1-deck dungeon. And then we have, again, by combining 2 dice, and you make the black dice to lower. One of the things that's super cool about the Galaxy is, like, it gives you things to do with crappy dice rolls way more than 1-deck dungeon does, and I think that's it's a nice design change. All right, what do we got? Monty says, did you have any chance to play Elder Scrolls? I've been playing a lot of it recently, and it's growing on me. I really started to like it. Specifically for its true solo, it is much more balanced than Too Many Bones. I will have a longer thought there in a second. Andy B says, hello, this game looks like 1-deck dungeon upgraded version. Yeah. I mean, look, I mean, it's also nice. It's more gamey, more gamery for sure. And I actually did just back the more recent. Well, again, 1-deck dungeon, I've really grown to like. They scratch different itches. I haven't played this 2-player yet. I have a sense that I would probably prefer 1-deck dungeon 2 players and this solo. But at some point, I'm sure my friend and I will bust this out and check it out. Marty, what Elder Scrolls? I did. I'd have to play it again. My friend has it. I have no intention of ever investing in it. I just think between Cloudspire, Too Many Bones, and Victorum, and 20 Strong, which that's grown on me a lot. I really like that as a small box option. I've really just kind of I played a demo of Elder Scrolls. I was not a fan, and it just felt too much like a Frankenstein combination of Cloudspire and Too Many Bones for me. And then it still has some of that Too Many Bones, like the dexterity stuff and the wackiness. And I just thought, like, there was one of their big battles where you just could run away. You don't have to fight the thing, and you're like, "What? I want to fight like what?" And that we just won. So it could have just been a really bad demo. Um, I found the combos early, like by the first turn, I was like doing, oh, that's the strongest combo, and like I'm gonna do that the rest of the game. I didn't find the progression very interesting. I found like the zero sum system like interesting to a point, but then at some point, like, it was like, oh, now we're filled up like pretty quickly. So I just, again, it might have just been a bad demo, or we just had combos that were too strong, or I don't know. Um, but it very much was a game that I didn't personally connect with on any level, and I kind of, for me, Too Many Bones, yeah, has some balance issues, but I think I've just played it so much and I like that tactical puzzle and the abstract nature of, that battle mat and what that is, and I just have so much invested in it that, to me, I'm like, I don't Elder Scrolls Never Getting to the Table. Speaking of which, so I've actually had a chance to play a lot of games that were on my, wall of opportunity. So I've actually been doing a deep dive into Victorum. Um, Victorum's really good, but wow, are those games too long? And I haven't tried the Quick Torrent version yet. I'm sure I'll like it, but I'm very impressed with the Victorum system. I'm also amazed at how it's kind of like a typical chip theory games fashion. They just make certain decisions that I don't understand what they were thinking or why they thought that was a good idea or why they thought like people were gonna want to play an 8 hour game that while it's really good, it's pretty samey. They could have designed that and just made it the 4 hour version to begin with, but you have to do this big fix to kind of give us the product that we should have had to begin with. So it's an interesting thing. There's an interesting thing going on with Victorum, but I really really do like it. Other games I've recently played through Ether Fields. Played through the first campaign of that. That was enough. I'm going to sell that. Um, as advertised, it's a really interesting game and it's got some serious grind problems. And I think with Awakening Realms too. I mean, I did the same thing with Kings of Ruin, where I would like flip a card, like, oh, that's that. All right, I'm gonna pretend I didn't do that. Like, I'm not adding hours to this gameplay because I'm so engrossed in this in the mechanics. It was more like, all right, I'm gonna make sure I get through, do what I need to do, and I was definitely taking things back. Nope, didn't do that. That's insane. I'm not gonna play this any longer than I have to. I just kind of want to get through the story, which to me says by the end of the first campaign, I was like, yeah, I'm done with that. Like I don't need to be doing that for 3 more campaigns that I had in the base game and the one expansion I had. But yeah, it's been good for me to really get through some of these games and just trying to really clear out some space in this basement. Anyway, Hunter. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. Sweet. Sadja says, "Why do you stream in Europe and still at work?" Brian says, "US still at work too." I know. Sadja, don't forget, I used to stream when you were going to bed, so I can't make you happy, man. I try, yeah, because the other option is I stream middle of my afternoon, which is harder for me because life be lifing for me in the afternoon. So anyway, I'm going to explain what these cards are in a second. So I'm just shuffling these up. Boo-doo-doo. Here is our one deck. And then we have to talk about the adversary. And oh dear God, that's going to take some time because the needle wobblers are fun. Now, every big bad has 7 cards. And count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. 5 of them are adversary events. They have a fun little picture on the back that says adversary event. That's how you know what those are. One is your confrontation card. That's double-sided, and that's super fun. And then one of them is a kind of an instruction card, which really should have been 2 cards or a bigger card laid out with all the rules. I find this when you give me a card that has information on both sides that I'm going to need to see. No, thank you. I would rather, I would rather that be better. Give me 8 cards, and yeah, this is a miss for me, because it just again, why do you make it harder for me to enjoy your game? It's my biggest pet peeve in board games, and board game companies just really like to do that. So, other than Nemesis Games, who with Uprising, just was like, here, we're gonna make this learning this and playing this immediately super easy, which is why I love those guys so much. Speaking of which, they did announce what their next Kickstarter is going to be. Again, solo mode, big box storage solution. Super excited. Love me some Uprising. That game is still getting played a fair amount by me and my friends. So this is the Needle Wobbler colony. Now, Needle Woober colony. I said that not good at all. So Neeble Woober. The Neeble Woobers are kind of a space. They like kind of negotiators. You got to trade with them. They do some things. And what's cool about these cards is it has 4 something the publisher did do to make this a little bit easier to learn. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 phases here, so you kind of walk through every round or every turn of the game doing this, right? So you have the adversary phase, the discover phase, the action phase, and the results phase. Here, our little confrontation card will go here. Now, this is double-sided and essentially gives us two ways to defeat the adversary. We can defeat the adversary by spending yellow dice and blue dice, or we can defeat the adversary by spending yellow dice and a certain amount of fleet. You see those circles, that's where these, coming full circle, kids, this is where you would use these blue things. So I would spend 5 fleet during the middle of the action phase, and I would put that there to indicate that that's covered up. Then if I now spend a yellow dice, which is 5 or a 6, or a black dice, which is a 5 or a 6, and the same here, a yellow dice is 5 or 6, or a black dice is 5 or 6, then at the end of that round, I would be able to say that I have cleared off this level of the enemy. Um, so, which is super cool. Now, so if I do that, I'll be able to do this. Now, if I do the next one, I need to be at a federation level of a 2. I know you can't see that, but trust me, it says a 2 there. There's federation level 3, federation 4. So on a subsequent round, I can only do one level of this in a action phase. On a subsequent round, I'm going to want to be federation level 2, spend 8 fleet. Yellow dice that's a 6 or higher, yellow dice that's a 6 or higher, or on the other side, yellow dice that's a 6 or higher. I mean, I guess it can't be higher. A blue dice that's a 6, and blue dice that combine to equal 20, or blue or black dice that combine to equal 20. Then I can clear this. If I get the Federation level 3, I can clear the third level here. If I get the Federation level 4, then I can clear that. It says you win. Whee! All right, go us. You'll also notice that the numbers in here go up. So on the actual adversary card, it says 2, 3, 4, 4 win. You like the higher number when you're playing the needle woobers. And you'll see how that plays out. So getting that cleared off early will be important, but there's a lot of things we want to get clear off early. And then obviously we need to get the Federation level 2 pretty quickly so we can do that. So we really need to kind of keep pace. The game kind of forces you toward either winning or losing. So it's pretty relentless in how it in the pace that it keeps for sure. All right, so the Needle Woober colony, adversary colonies, the Needle Woober colonization fleet will amass its own colonies, tucking cards under the left edge of the adversary card. The icons of these colonies allow them to roll dice during each escalate, and we'll talk about what escalate is. So this is now the Needle Woobers. Now some adversaries will add like text, some will add like different they usually add something or add rules or restrictions, or they do something. These guys will actually add colonies themselves. They start with a yellow colony, a pink colony, a blue colony, and they also will start taking these. Now as they start amassing these things, they're going to actually just have them, like they'll just start taking dice and stuff and placing them on them, and now you don't have access to them in your pool, which could be a problem. So we're going to have to negotiate with them to start getting these things back, right? So that's going to be a problem. So I might as well, since this is relevant, I might as well start putting these up here. Good times. Now, Horde. Dice and tokens in the Horde are stored on the adversary card and not returned to the supply during the results phase. And defeat. At the start of the adversary phase, you are overwhelmed if the Needle Woobers have at least twice as many colonies as your Federation level. Now, so again, I misspoke a little bit. So the colonies are literally this is literally just one kind of pseudo colony. This doesn't really count, but as they start taking cards and they put them in, those are going to start being their colonies, and they're going to have, if they ever get, so again, twice as many colonies. So if they get 2 cards to the left of here, that's going to be 2 to my 1 I would lose. Now they would need to do 4 to my 2 I would lose, 6 to my 3, 8 to my 4. and 10 to my 5, right? So we're going to want to start making sure our adversary, our federation level goes up to prevent from triggering that auto lose condition. You can see why there's a lot going on with this game. Like it's actually it's one of the harder teaches, for sure. All right. The needle was on the back says adversary end of phase. So at the end of the adversary phase, and there's a little exclamation point here, say, hey, this is not usual for all the adversaries, but this is something to pay attention to. If the adversary has 3 influence, now the influence is this a cool mechanic. The back of the deck has all of them have at the top. We have the back of the cards in the deck. At the top we have this one symbol here. At the bottom we have this double symbol. That equals 1 influence. This equals 2 influence. This equals 3 influence. This equals 4 influence. All right. Now, if I take those same markings and put them here, that's also how you keep track of fleet. So, multi-use cards in a lot of ways. So, these cards can be influence, they can be fleet, they can be science if they're flipped over that way, they can be colonies if they're flipped over this way, they can be tech if they're down here. These cards have a lot of things going on. So, if at the end of the adversary phase that has 3 influence, we discard 3 influence, and the needle woobers gain a colony from the deck. So we'll take the top card, there's a new colony, and we'll see what they do. If they don't have 3 influence here, they're going to escalate. So if they escalate, what do they do when they escalate? Well, the needle woobers gather their dice and their stars for all their icons, and they roll them. So whatever they escalate at the beginning of the game, all they have is this yellow, this blue, and this thing, and they would gather the star. They would roll the dice. When they roll their dice, each die that is equal to or greater than the highest number shown along here. So again, it starts the game at a 2, then 3, then 4. Each die that is equal to or greater, they add that to their hoard, right? Because they are little hoarders, those jerks. And now we're going to have to figure out a way to get those back. All right, action. Twice during the action phase, we can negotiate with the needle woobers. So twice per turn, you may make a purchase from the horde, spending either 6 science. Again, we're going to have some science up here on our star base. If we spend 6 science, we get all of the yellows off of here. We spend 4 fleet to get all the pinks. We can spend 3 influence of our own. Now we're going to put influence out on locations, and you'll see that come to play to get all the blues. We can spend 5 stars for all black dice. Black dice get added here if we have to add a die or if we have to roll a die, but there's not enough in the pool to roll for their colonies. We would substitute that with a black, and we can spend dice of a 20 or higher to get all the stars. We can do, when we do that, half rounded up go to our pool. So say there are 3 yellow dice, I spend 6 science, I get these. 2 of these are now added to my pool. Dice are rolled first. So I would take these, I'd roll them, and I'd immediately have those dice now in my pool for the round. It's a kind of a cool mechanic where you could store dice here, know you're going to get them back, and then half of them now you're added to your pool, so you can actually get some more done. So there's some planning that can go into dealing with the needle woobers. All right, so that's their adversary card. We're going to put this just kind of, I don't know, it's just off camera down here. These adversary events are cray-cray. So they're going to do certain things. We'll see what they do as soon as we go through the deck. So I'm going to put them under here. Well, essentially, when we get down to our first one, we're going to put it aside. And then in the adversary event, the first thing we do in the adversary phase is we're going to reveal the adversary event. The timing of that is important. So you're going to want to pay careful attention. There are times that oh man, if I have this revealed next round, I'm going to die. So there are times that you want to be very, very careful not to get to the bottom of this deck, and just be very cognizant of that. Where is the rulebook? So just make sure I'm not missing anything in setup. Adversary event. Mass civilization. My galaxy deck. What was it? There's nothing added there, I'm pretty sure. Right. So we have the class 1. So we're going to take the top card of the deck here, and we're going to start the game with 2 fleet, and then we're going to take this, flip it over, and we get 4 science. That's a lucky pull to start. Now, one of the things to note is, I was going to say something. 2 fleet. I don't know. It will come to me. But so again, fleet just get tucked right there. Science gets tucked there, and that's super cool. All right, what's going on? Madi says, with the King of Ruins, I was determined to play through it once more after I had done, but the last chapter was so tedious for no reason that it left an awful aftertaste for me. I put it to sell it. Spoiler for that. Oh dear God, Madi, you and I are like mind melded on that, man. That well, that last chapter. I don't know what they were going for. It was so unnecessary. Um and not especially challenging, and definitely not interesting. It was it just felt, I think they just felt this need to have like 10's a good number, and they just wanted to have this like kind of culmination. I that they did themselves a major disservice. There was no reason to have that final chapter. It was super disappointing, and by 100% agree. That was by far the weakest part of that entire Kings of Ruin experience. I was not planning to replay it. I was definitely pretty sure I was going to sell it, but I did do the side chapters, and I did all the extra stuff. I liked that enough that I played with all 4 characters and was able to explore a bit. But woof, that last chapter of the main campaign was absolute garbage. Brian says, "Is this retail or will be soon?" This is. You can buy the Kickstarter version of this now. Yeah, I mean, you could buy the retail or the Kickstarter version of this. This is so if you're looking for, if it says deluxe edition, that's the Kickstarter version. So you can. I bought actually a copy of both, and I gave my friend the retail one. So because I found an opportunity to get this for pretty cheap. So I got the deluxe version. But yeah, really really good. Definitely recommend. And I know I didn't do the greatest job teaching it, but just bear with me. Hopefully you like the dulcet sounds of my voice. All right, hold on one sec. Alrighty then. Let me have some coffee. Iced coffee all times a year, and we're good to go. So I think we're just gonna make this happen, man. I've blabbered on long enough. I think I remember how this goes. So there is a timer mechanic with the way the round goes, and I'm actually gonna put these just up into the pool, and we'll gather them anew every round because that's how it's gonna work anyway. So, first thing that's going to happen is we're going to discard 2 cards. Now, if you're playing on the easier version of the adversaries, you only discard 1 card at this time. But now we're going to do time passes. Well, first thing, if there was an adversary event just sitting there, we would we would flip that over and resolve that. There is not. So adversary, and then we're going to take one of these things, and we're going to add 1 influence to our friends, the Nibelwoobers. So 1 influence goes right there. When we go to 2 influence next round, we would just turn this and flip it over. So we'll not take another card off, which is good because cards are your lifeblood in this game. The more you go through this deck, the quicker you will die. But you need to go through this deck to get things done. It's a tension, people. It's amazing. All right. So I added 1 influence. Now there are not 3 influence there, so we are just going to escalate. What happens when we escalate? Well, we're going to gather dice for the Nibelwoobers. We're going to get their yellow, we're going to get their pink, we're going to get their blue. We're going to also, when we gather, we're going to gather 1 of their stars. So I should actually put these up here. They'll never gather the blue, so I'm just going to leave the blue on my star base as we reveal those, but that's fine. And they're going to roll these 3 dice. Now, anything a 2 or higher, obviously not a pretty low bar here, is going to get added to their little adversary card. So I rolled a 2, a 3, and a 4. So obviously all 3 of these qualify as 2 or higher. Some advanced math for you. And we're going to make a mess of things, and then we're going to put these all on here. So Now, the value of that, they don't retain their value. When we take these off again, we will re-roll them. So they just have those three um, dice are going to be stuck there for now, which is going to really diminish the amount of dice that we need in our pool. All right, because as we get more colonies ourselves, blah 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 blah, you'll see. So it's going to be that tension trying to get those back. Now we go to the discover phase. There are 4 spots here. You just don't see them. They're there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if there's ever any spot that's ever missing a card, we are now going to flip these over and fill them one at a time. Cool. Now there are 4. There are 2 different kinds of cards. This is a location. The location has a bunch of information going on. All right. The location tells you if you took this card as a colony, that you would get a yellow and a blue. If you took it as a tech, you would have this tech here. How do you take it? Well, you're going to need to get a number of influence equal to or greater to that number, and then at that point, you would be able to take this card in the results phase. All right. This is 3 science if we wanted to study a location, which we'll talk about that. And every location pretty much has a special rule, but there's not a lot of rules overhead with them. I mean, there's only a few different types, and you'll see them pretty regularly. So this says X equals the number of influence here. So if during the action phase I put a die that is a 5 or higher, and again, these are big boxes, so I could spend like a 1 and 2 twos. As long as it's a big box, I can put any number of dice that qualify, but they have to be yellow dice or black dice. Black dice are wild. During the results phase, I'd be able to add 1 influence from the top of the deck and put it there. If I do a 14, I'd be able to add 2 influence. Now, next round, say I had 2 influence there. Well, now it's 14 minus 2. I would only need to do 12, whatever. But at whatever point, if I ever have 6 influence, this is how I gain colonies or techs. You get to choose at the time that you have defeated that location or finished, influencing that location enough that it becomes part of your home world, either by adding tech or adding more colonies. Remember, I need colonies. I need to be able to roll 20 dice at some point, but I also need techs because I need to be able to do that. I need to upgrade my star base so I can get more things. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Colonies are also a way that I'm going to get more stars. It's all very confusing, but we're going to have some choices to make. Elements I find the most difficult of the home worlds, because that 20 dice in your pool is just an insane number. But there are other ways to get dice in your pool. Remember, like dice in your pool. Remember, if I ever say there's 6 dice here and I take all the blues, I can add those to my pool. So there are ways to cheese that number of 20. They don't only have to come from colonies. Is another thing to think about. And there are techs that add dice to your pool for a round. So, a whole bunch of things happening. All right. Next card coming off. This is also a location. So this needs 6 influence. It has a restriction. All dice here must be the same value. So we got 1 influence, 2 influence line, and then there's a tech here. We're going to take this one off. It's another location. So this is a cool location because it gives you this as a colony. This will give you a pink die, a blue die, and a star. So you're going to gather more stars, which is super nice. Has this tech here. It says must fill the top row before the bottom row, and that would require 4 fleet to do the top row. So that's pretty expensive outlay. There's 4 science on this card, and it needs 8 influence to take it. Again, it's a pretty good ability, so it's going to want to, make sure that you have to spend the max, but it also means it's going to take several rounds to gather 8 influence on that card. Also remember some of these dice, to get the blue dice back from here, we're going to need to spend influence from locations, right? So we put influence on locations, we might have to spend it just to be able to get those blue dice back. So there are some cards that out here that we're just going to want just to load up influence just so we can get those blue dice back, because we're going to need to do all of those exchanges at some point. And then we have an encounter. Encounters are not great. So Encounters are a little rougher. I mean, they could be good if we can find a way to add them. There could be a fast track to getting a tech or a colony because encounters and locations both have the colony and the tech on them. But unlike these locations where we're going to slowly build up influence over time, encounters are like all or nothing. You have to either solve them all in the same round or eventually this is going to escalate. And when it escalates, it means you're triggering the badness for the adversary. The this bonus of that though, the silver lining is if a card ever escalates after you carry out the escalate ability, then you're going to take that card and you get to now study it and take it as science because you've learned from your mistakes. All right, so it's an interesting mechanic. Getting up to 6 and 13 with only 3 yellow dice to start is probably unlikely. I have a feeling that this is probably going to escalate and start causing us some problems. But again, at least we'll get the 3 science out of the way that way. All right. So, a couple of things to say. Now, you can always spend 3 science to get a black die, and then you just roll that, add it to your pool. I rolled a 6. So of course, I'm wasting my 6s in demonstrations. And you could also spend. Is that it? No, that's it. Oh, you could also spend a fleet to make a die, any die plus or minus 1, which is super cool. Again, lots of functionality and flexibility in the system, more so than one deck dungeon. All right, so that's the discover phase. We now have a full allotment of 4 cards. We go to the action phase. So beginning of the action phase, we're going to gather all our stuff. So we get 3 yellows, we get 2 pinks. I'm going to switch the order of those guys. And then we're going to get 5 blues, and we're going to get 2 tokens. All right. So I'm going to take these dice, and we're just going to roll them all. And again, right now, this is 20 dice in our pool. Bam. So we have, I'm just going to put them out. So we got a 1, 4, 6 yellow. There's a 1. Now these dice are prone to kind of like flipping. They're not very chunky. If a die flips and I'm not sure what it originally was, I just leave it on the new die. I'm sorry, like I can't stress too much. This and then this. All right, so there's our pool. Not a terrible roll. Not a great roll. So it's a nice tweener roll, which will give us a chance to do some cool things. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tech, which allows me to spend 1 fleet. So I made that 2 into a 1 fleet to launch a probe. I'm going to take the top card of the deck, flip it over. It is 4 science. That is cool. We're going to be able to upgrade. I think we're going to upgrade our starbase right away, which will be helpful because I like those. Now, I do want to get another tech pretty quick here. Now, let's look at some of these tech abilities. This says roll a pink. For each pair of that resource, you can roll another pink. Well, this would be only my first one of those, so not amazing. This says roll a yellow. For each one of these, you may return a die to roll another yellow. That's not the most helpful, but it could be worse. This text says roll a black. If you have 3 waters, reroll any or all your dice, and that's a thing. So I'm going to definitely want targeting both of these wouldn't be crazy because there's some really good abilities here that have some synergy. So this says 14 minus, if I can get this to a 12, I can get 2 influence on there already. Of course, because it gets, no, I'm sorry, if I get this to a 14, I can get 2 influence on there already. Discard any ice use. And this is what? Blue and pink. They all have to be the same value. Can I get 3 on there? No, I'm not even close. Yeah, I'm not. That was a bad roll for that one. Not a great roll for this one. I don't see how I'm ever doing this one. So I could just study that location and play, and we'll kind of see that work out. I'm also going to want to get a lot more fleet because again, fleet allow me to do this ability, this tech there, and then again, so this is your society tech, this is your homeworld tech, and just fleet are going to be really important at how we play the Nebel Wobblers. So not again, that's not looking at this now, just not the greatest roll. So what I think I'm going to do is study this location, really try to just jam that star base as quickly as possible, and can I even get, if I just put one influence on there, that just seems woofy. I mean, can I get to the 14? Try to get 2 influence on there. I would need, so that's 11, so I would need 3s, but that's not going to work. I need 4. If I did that, I want to be able to do that. What a bad roll. Just bad all the way around. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm definitely want to get more fleet, so I'm going to do these 3 dice. Though I can do any 2 dice to get 1 extra fleet. I can do 2 dice that equal each other to get 2 extra fleet. I can do 3 dice that equal each other to get 3 extra fleet. I could do that. I could do that. 2. Nope. I'm still 1 short. Nope. I can do it this way. Did that. Great. This is how I think I'm going to make this work. So I'm going to take this blue die and this pink die. The pink die is a 4, the blue die is a 5. That's going to give me 1 black 4. I'm going to put these, this now totals 14. I'm going to put this here. I'm going to take these 2 1s to match that. And I am going to just really try to get that star base up quick. So I'm going to put 4 dice here. Now, there are 2 to get more science. I can do any 3 dice to do a probe where it just be a random card off the top of the deck, and it could be a 2, 3, or 4. We don't know. We'll find out. Or I could say I want to get a location and play off. I don't like this location. I'm not going to do that anytime soon. So I'm going to spend the 4 dice to make sure I know I'm getting 4 science out of that, which I think will be good. So I think that's how I'm going to resolve this roll. Again, not the greatest of rolls, but at least we have things we can do. So I'm now done with my action phase. We go to the results phase. The first things that we resolve are going to be locations. So I have 14 there. That's going to give me 2 influence on Solwert. And now we're, again, if it equaled 6, we would discard all the influence, and we would now be able to add that as a tech or a colony. Obviously, that's only 2, but we're getting there. Nothing else to resolve here. So now we're going to start resolving a star base. I'm going to spend these 2 dice to get 2 more fleet. So now we started with 2, we spent 1 during that round, and now we have 3. I'm going to spend these 4 dice. That equals 4 science here. I'm going to add this card. After I'm done resolving the star base, I can discard the amount of science I need to do an upgrade. So I'm discarding 8 science. There is no change with science. So if I spent 9 somehow, I would not get 1 back, unlike fleet. And that's going to immediately let me upgrade my base. So we are a level 2 star base, and now it's going to be 10 science to upgrade this to level 3. And I want to really upgrade quickly so I get access to more of these blues, because now next round when I gather, instead of just gathering 1 blue, I can gather 2. Remember, I can use blues as if they are stars, which is super important with my faction ability. Notice I didn't even use this. Now, I could have, if I wanted to be, a good person and show you how this worked, I could have resolved that using that ability during the action phase, but there was no real upside to doing so. In theory, the exchange, actually, I don't even think, no, I think you can only upgrade. That's a question. I don't think I could have. I could have resolved it and gotten the extra card, but I don't think I could actually upgrade until, each full row. After resolving all this, you can upgrade the starbase. So I guess you could, yeah, in theory, I could have upgraded that in the middle of the action phase by using that tech, but it didn't actually improve the exchange I was doing. Note the exchange did get a little bit better, that I could spend any one die now to get another fleet. So it's like I just have an extra die. So, but the rest of the exchanges are indeed the same. And if I did all the exchanges for fleet, now I can get 6 fleet around. That's the same, but it would cost me 1 less die than it did on the previous side of the starbase. And if you don't believe me, just take my word for it. Oh, that would make some sense. If you don't believe me, you wouldn't just take my word for it. But you know what I meant. All right, let's move on. So the action phase is now done. At the end of the action phase, during the action phase, I could have negotiated. That's what that exclamation point is. Obviously, did not. And then we go to the. So I'm sorry. And the exclamation point there is for negotiate. That was the results phase. So we're done with the results phase. That's the end of the turn. We're now going to the next turn. First thing we do, we check to see if there's an adversary event. There is not. When do we add? There's a very I do wish this was on there. Time passes, adversary influence, and counter influence is 4th. All right, so the second thing we're going to do, we discard. So we check for adversary event, first thing. Second thing, we discard 2 cards, time passes. Third thing we do, we increase this. Fourth thing we do is we add an influence to our little, of what do they call this? It's not an event. It's a disaster. It's a crisis. It is a encounter. Oh, it's a location and encounter. So to our encounter card. I'm blowing up. All right, that's done. And then we're going to. I'm sorry. Hold on one sec. Right. I already knew about that. So the fourth thing we do, we add that. Now the fifth thing we're gonna do is well, at the end of the adversary phase. What the heck is the fifth thing? Why are there 5 things? This should be on the card. Resolve encounters. Oh, if this was a 3 influence, we would have resolved that. It's not, so we don't have to worry about that. And now we go here at the end of the phase. There is less than 3 influence, so we're just gonna escalate. When we escalate, we're gonna gather this, and this. It gathers another one of these. So now it has 2 of our stars. We roll. This. Oh, I rolled 2 1s. Nice. So the 1s are not 2 or higher. Advanced math for you. So those just go back, but he does gather this pink into his horde. All right. Brian says, okay, basically the only similarity between ODD and ODG is the dice. Yeah, I mean, it's the dice and then the multi-use nature of cards and being able to tuck them. But yeah, it's a wildly different game. And I do think it's better. It's just much less accessible. But I'm telling you, like, each of these adversaries is very different. And the homeworld colony type combinations are also pretty different as well. So the art's a little whacked out. Again, like, who invited the space tomato? I mean, dude. That's the space tomato. It's a thing. All right. I'm not just making it up. Or maybe I am. I don't know. It's a thing. So that's the adversary phase. We go to the discover phase. We're missing a card. So we add 1. Boop. It's another world. It's another one of those symbols. So spend 6 yellow to roll 2 yellow and a black, or spend 2 fleet to do that. That's another thing I like. It would be 2 science to do this. So again, must fill top row first, and that's 2 science, and I don't love that because I don't want to spend 4 science when I only need 2, and none of these locations in play are 2. I really don't like spending science inefficiently, so we'll see how that works. We now go to the action phase. So I'm going to gather my 3 yellow, my 2 pink, this should have gone back here, this should have come off here, my 5 blue, and then I gather 2 of these. We're going to roll these again. Now, remember, I only need a 12 now, so I'm going to try to do this in 3 turns. And we got a little lucky that I rolled 2 ones in there, escalate. So that's super helpful because to kind of keep those blues off, which will be great. So, yeah, I got some things I can do here. So rolling these dice again. There's 10 dice in our pool. That was a really bad roll for yellow because I'm trying to get to 12. That would indeed not be 12. So that's a 1-1-4. Our pinks are a 6-5. Those are good. Those are good. And then a 1-2-2-3-4. So crap all around. I'm going to do this tech. I'm going to spend a fleet. This gets discarded because there's none more on that card. To launch a probe. It is a 4. Whoa, killing it. That's lots of science. So I'm not going to do this yet. I do want to do that at some point. Man, I hate that roll. That's just a bad roll. It's a really bad roll. It's a bad roll for everything. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use some science here, some fleet here to do things I don't want to do. Yeah, I think I still just blitz this. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna spend this 6 and a 5 because I'm not using these pinks on anything else. I just didn't get the right rolls to even start working on that. Spending that 6 and a 5 to get a black 5. So that's 9, 10, 11. I'm gonna spend a fleet. Oh, you know what? It doesn't matter what I spent it on. I'm gonna spend a fleet to upgrade to up this die to a 5. And then I'm putting these 12 here. So that's done. And then we're going to. Oh, that is a 2. I'm sorry. God, I'm blind. No, you're right. I don't want to take that 2. I want to leave this card. I'm really gonna just try to lean into that resource because I have those 3 things. This and this might actually be better than that one. So now the starbase also. So now I can do probes. I can do 2 per turn. On the previous starbase, I could do 1 per turn. So probes would be interesting. I'm going to leave this out for a little bit. I think I'm going to try to get this at some point, but that's just 2 science a turn to get, and I'm going to have to do that at least twice. I like the idea of this card, though. I like the idea of this card. I like the idea of this card. So I don't want to get rid of any of these locations in play. But I am going to then do a probe, but I'm also going to need to get more. Maybe I'm not doing a probe. Man, I just hate spending the science for this. That's fine. So we're going to do this for 2 fleet. Would like to get 3, but we'll take 2. And then we're going to do a probe. So that's the end of my action phase. We're going to resolve this. I add 2 more influence. So 1 more turn of that, and we'll be able to gather our first colony or tech. Nothing else to do here. We're going to go here. We're going to get 2 more fleet. This comes here. This comes here. We're going to go here. And we're going to do a probe. It's a 2-er. Now I could upgrade my starbase again. I don't want to. I want to use that 2 influence to start digging into that next turn. And try to get this done pretty quick. So we're done there. We're going to take these off and put them back in the pool. We now go to so the results phase is done. We're now going to go to the next round. We have no adversary event, so we don't have to do anything there. The next thing we're going to do is time pass 1, 2. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a third influence. Then we're going to add an influence to here. And now we're going to, if it has 3 influence, which it does, we're going to discard 3. So we're not going to escalate this turn. We're not going to roll the dice again. But we are going to discard these 3. And it's going to take a colony from the deck. So we grab this. And now we get another colony. So it's rolling another yellow and gathering 2 more stars. So we're going to have to start being concerned about that star pool, because we're going to need those stars to activate text, and we need to activate text to get our Federation level up. All right, so that's their turn. That's the end of the adversary. Discover. This is full. Some adversaries give you a penalty if this is full at the beginning of the discover phase. We're not, so this is full. We don't add anything. We go right to the action phase. We gather our pool of dice. So we get 3 yellow, 2 pink, 5 blue, and we get 2 texts. The puncher says, feed me. We're rolling these dice. And that's at least better for yellow. So that's, I think, not really, actually. God, I've been 1 shy every turn. I've had to make way more black dice than I normally do at this point in the game, but that's fine. So 1, 3, look at that. We almost have a large straight with the blue dice there. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, let's make this happen. So I need to put 10 on there to finish that off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 2 of my science, discard that card. I'm going to put this here. I'm going to spend this pink and this blue, and that's going to be 2 influence on that. Remember, you had to do the top row first was the sentence I tried to state there. I'm going to do this tech to spend a fleet to launch a probe. It's another 2. Great. I'll use that. I'll keep it around, actually. I'm not going to be in a huge rush to upgrade this base. I do want to do it, obviously, but I'll keep that just to finish that off next turn, which I think will be good. I'm going to have to spend another... yeah, I don't... oh, I could do this. I could do the 6 and the 6 to get 2 influence on that, but I really need to finish this off. So I'm debating whether I want to make a black die here, if I could do a probe, or if I spend a fleet. Man, I'm gonna need to get more fleet back, but none of these numbers match, so I'm literally only getting 1 fleet back no matter how I cut it here, which isn't great. So I really don't even know if it's gonna matter. If I did this and this, that's 5. I need to get to 10. It's so bad. Unless I just don't get the fleet back. Wonder if I could do this and this, because I make that a 5, that's 8. I'll just have no fleet, but I'll be making some headway there. All right, I don't love it, but we're going to do it. So we're going to flip this. I'm going to spend this fleet, make this a 3. I'm going to do 6 and 6. I'm going to make this into a black 4. That's 8. I can resolve the starbase early. That's the benefit of that. I'll spend this other fleet. Make this a 4. I'm out of fleet. I'm fleetless in Seattle. I'm going to spend these 2 to make a black 1. Again, there was a 1 and a 3. Have to go with the lower die. But now this is 10, and I only need 10 because I already have 4 influence there. And that will work. All right. Event phase or result phase, we're going to add an influence here. Now you have to add, even if you know it's going to get to the thing, you have to still spend the things. Now it's 6. We're going to be able to take all these, discard them. These go away. And now I have this colony or tech. Either way, whether I take it as a colony or a tech, the resource still shows. But I think it's going to make sense. Roll the pink. I only have 2 pink. I think this is fine. And it's going to help me get to my federation. So techs are for really what I need to focus on more right now. So we added another tech. So again, I have to get these federation tokens off. Remember, if I get one more colony while I'm still federation level 1, I lose. So I have a bit of a race on my hands to get the federation level 2. So that's going to go there. There's also a special use of these tokens, which we'll talk about in a second. Well, I'll tell you. So as we get these tokens, if there's ever a point that we'd be overwhelmed means you lose. You could spend that token to prevent one instance of loss. It's a pretty interesting mechanic with some of the adversaries, because sometimes it feels a little cheesy, but with some of the adversaries, it's like that's their whole thing. So, oh god, Michael Deuces is high all and Hunter Nerd. Yeah, I don't know why I'm saying Brian, dude. I'm thinking of Silver Fear. My bad, dude. I know you guys are different. In my head, your name is Brian too. So sorry, man. That's all right. I called Sagitt Daniel for about a year, so you're a good company. That goes there. We're going to resolve this. Goes here. And this comes off. And we get 2 more influence here. So I got 1 influence for the top line and 1 influence for the bottom. So good amount of influence on those. So we're really working our way toward getting just kind of focusing on these resources. And that should really help us get a bunch of dice in our pool, which is what we're going to need at some point. All right. We now go to, that's the end of the results phase. We're going to take these off. I'm not going to spend that. I'm going to definitely use that just to finish that off next turn. We will have to upgrade our starbase pretty soon, but that is not now. We're going to go to the next turn. No adversary event. We are going to have time pass. So 1, 2. We're going to add an influence here. Our 4-step, we're adding an influence here. This is now 3 influence, so we escalate. These go away. We take this as science. And what happens when we escalate? We gather all the dice. So 1, 2, 1, 1, and now 3 stars. And we're going to roll them. Anything higher than a 2. All of these stay. So 5, 5, 2, 2. We're going to definitely start working to get those back soon. All right. So that's now done. We go to the discover. Oh, and then at the end of the phase, because it does not have 3 influence, we're going to have to do the same thing again. Remember, the first was just an escalation. This is now for the adversary phase thing. So I think it's like a quarter of the cards in that deck are encounters. Did I roll any ones? I rolled 2 1s with yellow, so that's nice. But the 3 stays and the 6 stays. So one of the things I've been ignoring because I needed those yellows for other things. I could start thinking about doing level 1, which gets that number up to a 3. So then it would be, again, just a little bit less likely that when they escalate, they're going to keep the dice. We are going to have to think about getting these dice back, especially the blues are going to be a problem. But we're going to have to kind of deal with things as they are for, I think, one more round. All right, so we're going to roll 3. We're going to roll 2. We're going to roll 5. So it's all the dice in them. So you see them hoarding is a problem. I literally no more dice that can be spared. And then we get 2 more, and they've really eaten very heavily into our star supply too. So at some point we're gonna have to spend 20 dice, just 20 in dice just to get our stars back. We're gonna roll all these dice. So we get a 5, a 4, and a 2. We get a 3 and a 4. So of course not a single one of those was the same number. So that's oh, discover phase. This came out. It's another one of those resources, and this came out. We got some waters. That's crazy. And then we have this, 5, 1, and 2. I'm tempted to negotiate with them right now, but I just, it is what it is. All dice here must have different values. It's, again, a different kind of thing. It's also a 2. First things first. I'm going to use this blue to do this and spend the 2 science from here. To do that. That's a lot of fleet. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that at all because I need the fleet over here, but it's also a good also a good thing for me. It might actually be better than this one, but it's 8. So that's gonna be tough, and it's very, very fleet intensive. I have to start getting this fleet back. So if I do this 2, what's this side again? 5, 16. That might actually make some sense. 2, 2. Let's get that off. Because I'm not doing a lot else. Because I just don't have the fleet available. I can do 6 and 6. I can't get the 16th if I do that, though. Oh, I don't need to do that because I'm taking that card. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not going to have the fleet for that side. So with that 16, yeah, I think I'm going to get the first level of this off, which might help keep some dice out of their pool when they escalate next turn, which they're definitely doing. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to resolve my starbase now. This is going to give me 2 fleet. Again, this is where this ability comes in very nice. So it gives me 2 fleet, and those dice are just discarded. That's a cool little tech. I'm going to spend 1 fleet to do this action, which lets me launch a probe, which is going to give me this card, which is another 4. Just getting all the 4s. I'm probably going to resolve that star base and just get myself up. I can use this thing as if it were a tech. That lets me just roll a pink. If I had 2 of those, I could roll another pink, but that just gives me a 4. I could put that on there. So 4-4. It's getting more. I'm going to need to get those blues back. So just having things I can just spend influence to get these guys off is helpful. I'm going to spend my other fleet. Remember, I got getting 2 fleet in the middle of the round is super huge. I'm going to make this a 6. I'm going to use this 6 to go here. Oh, it's a 5 and a 16, Greg. It's a 5 and a 16, not just a 16. Hold on. Hold the phone. I was thinking it was just a 16. It's a 5 and a 16. That's different. Five. Yeah, I'm just one shy. Could get all those blues back though. That's gonna cost me a 6. That's gonna cost me a 6. 5-2. I don't have the 3 fleet. I don't have 3 equal numbers. I don't want to get that back. All right, I'm just gonna let that roll one more time. Not like I have much of a choice here, but I definitely gotta get this Federation off, or we're gonna lose. Spend 7. Well, that'll be easy. And this early part of the game is a needle, whatever the heck they are, can be really tense. God, I wish that was a different number. Just don't think I'm gonna have the fleet for that. I don't think I care about this. I could study this. Get the 10, get to the next level, which is helpful. All right, if I did this and this, I just don't have the tech for that. Study 2, study 4. Yeah, I'm just never getting those. I'm not gonna have enough fleet to really make that work. So I could do that. All right, I'll spend this thing here actually. These come back. I spent that thing there to make this pink, this yellow was 6. It'll just give me another tech option sooner. Then we're going to, oh wait, all the dice there have to have the same value. Shoot. These dice rolls have not been great. Never mind. They all have to have the same value. That would be not the same value, kids. All right, 5 and 5. We're gonna go back to that. We have these 6s. I could do that, but I don't need to because I have to do the top row first. So the other thing I'm thinking about is like, well, maybe I get those blues back now. But I'm not going to be able to do much with them otherwise, unless I get an absolutely perfect roll. That is an option. Because I'd be rolling 2. So I would essentially need a 6 and a 5. Yeah, it's not. I ain't that lucky. Because I was thinking about if I spent the 1 influence from there and the 2 influence from there, I could take those back, roll them. I just don't think that's going to work. I actually don't want to gather these this turn. I'm going to gather those next turn. So I think we're just going to... It's not the most efficient. 666. Yeah, I'm just gonna be wasting a die, which is fine. I do want that 2 more than the 4. Then I'm wasting 2 dice. Woof. I hate wasting dice. Oh, if they were all the same, that'd be great. That would be great. I could have resolved this differently and had another fleet, but then I'm spending a lot of fleet to make 4 dice that are the same number there, and that's just a problem. So I think we're just going to have that, which would be helpful. It's give me a lot of pink for next turn. Yeah, I'm just going to put this. This is bad. I could do this. Great. I'm going to take this off, make this a 5. It just makes this a little bit more efficient. That will go there. These 2 will go here. And then these 2 will go into study. I like that. All right, we're going to do the locations. This comes here. This comes here. That's now 3. I'm going to grab another tech. We're going to do this. This gets 1. This is 3 of 6. Starbase. We get 5 fleet. Ruh-roh. We're going to lose. I can't have that reveal. I definitely can't have that reveal. I will lose. Because I have not increased my federation. I can't even probe. All right, let me do it differently. I would have just gotten 3 fleet. Because I would have put 2 and 1, and I would have put 4 dice here. And with those 4 dice, I would have studied this location. It's only when you have to draw and you can't that gets placed. So that timing is important. And then I'm going to spend 10 science here. As I'm done resolving the starbase, this goes here, getting more cards back into that. It's super cool. And that's going to let me go to starbase level 3. And I'm going to make sure the timing of that. So I think it's when you have to draw and you can't. The next federation. I don't think it's when it's revealed. Reshuffle. Space. When a galaxy card needs to be drawn for any reason, but the deck is empty. All right, so that is if I had to get a 5th fleet, So if I'm just taking 3 fleets out of 5, I would have had to draw a card, and then this would have come into play, and it immediately goes into play. And when that comes into play, it adds a colony. That'd be 2 colonies to my 1 Federation level, and I would lose. So the way it stands now, there is no adversary event in play. Right, it's just very, very exacting, especially when you're against the harder levels here. So this goes here, this goes here. So that's done. This comes off. Notice I had 3 techs active, so I'm super close to being Federation level 2. I will be able to get the Federation level 2 next turn. I might be able to get the Federation level 3 next turn, but just stay tuned. So that's all done. We have Starbase level 3, which is nice, but not Federation level 3. We now go to the adversary phase. The adversary phase, there's no adversary event. We have to discard 2 cards. Oh, we have to draw a card. We can't. Now there's an adversary event that will trigger immediately at the beginning of the next turn. Mike James, yes, I made a live stream. My man is back. What's up, Mike? How are you, man? Good to see you. Got Mike Newsome, Huntinator, and Mike James. Got a whole crowd watching me fumble through this. All right, cool. This comes here. We discard 2, 1, and 2. Now we add an influence. So that's now 2. We are going to add influence to any encounters. There are none. At the end of the phase, there's not 3 influence here. So we're going to gather. So 2 yellow, 1 pink, 1 blue, 3 of these. So it has 10 on there, because of course it does. We might be upgrading this Federation multiple times this turn. That goes there. I rolled 1-1, but everything else stays. So we are going to need to get those blues back, because woof. 2 and 4. And we're already at the limit of our pinks too. So pinks are going to be fleet. So we might try to get those back as well. Discover phase 1, 2. And now we go to gather. So we get 3 yellow, 2 pink, only 4 of our 5 blues. Oop. Uh-oh. Oh boy. All right, hold on a sec. Got it. 4 or 5 I lose. These 2 go there. This is here. And we actually get a 3rd one. And notice there's a big jump in this. So now we can get up to 9 fleet in the same turn. It only costs 2 to do a probe. And we could do that 3 times a turn. But again, we're doing pretty good with science. This ability here is pretty nice for that. So we definitely want to get to Federation level. We want to definitely start defeating them, and we also want to get our Federation level up, and we're going to need to, because as soon as that flips over, they're actually going to be adding 2 colonies next turn, so not a lot of leeway here. So that rolled, that counts. It was a 6, 1, 1. Of course it counts. It was a 6, 1, 6, and 1, 3, 3, and 6. All right, we have to get these dice back. And I mean, I'm tempted just to dump it all from there. I think I hate doing that, but I think this is kind of where we're at. This is also nice. Get 2 blue 5s could be helpful. All right, one thing at a time. So we're going to, well, could just get all those back, which is probably smarter. Got some big numbers here. Yeah, if I had been able to do I could do that this turn too. I have 3 1s. 5, 5, 20. Pinks are 4. Yeah, we have to start getting stuff back. And could get 4 activated techs. So that will be helpful. All right, let's do that. We're going to do this. Those match. We're going to resolve the star base. So that's 3. We get 3 fleet. Wait. So this would flip over. So we had 3. We're up to 6. I'm going to do one of my 2 negotiations. Our first negotiation of the game. Hold on to your butts. I'm going to take this, spending 4 fleet to get all the pinks back. When I gain the pinks, I get half rounded up. There are 5 pinks there, so I'm going to roll these 3, add them to my pool. I rolled a 1-1-2. What an awesome roll. All right, my second tech. That's such a crap roll. My second tech is I'm going to activate this. I have 2 of those resources, so I get to roll a pink. And since I have 2, I roll another pink. A 4-4. That's a little better. I mean, if we start paying attention to dice in my pool now too, I mean that's 11. Not nearly as impressive as I thought. We're going to we can use these as stars, so we're going to activate this tech, spending a fleet to launch a probe. It's going to be 12 to get to our last star base here. And I'm not going to want to, I can't, I have nowhere. So I'm going to use this tech to gain a a yellow 6. I have 4 activated techs, so now we automatically have that. So actually doing that right now isn't going to be great. I'm going to let that happen. Yeah, I'll just do that another turn. As long as a Federation level 2, I can have up to 3 colonies and be fine. 6. I need to get those blues back. I got the blues. 2-2. No black dice there. I do need to get 1 more tech. What's going to be the quickest way for that? What's going to be the quickest way for that? I want to get 5 techs. I want to spend 7. I can take care of this blockade next turn. 5, 2, 8. All right. If I do 6, 6, that satisfies that. Could just get this thing all the way up too. And then if he's taking my stars, I really don't care. Just max them out. I'll get 6 of them back next turn. If I had another pink 6, I could just finish that off this turn, but that's not going to happen. No black dice there. Must fill top row first. I'm going to need to get these blue dice. I mean, just Do I do the blue dice this turn? What is the... Spend 6 science for all the yellows. 4 fleet. I did the 4 fleet for the pinks. Spending dice equaling 20. Spending the influence is going to be annoying. If I get the blues back now, I roll those. Then what? What can I do with the blues? Ooh, if I get a 4 and a 5, we're good. Let's do that. So I'm going to remove this 3 influence. That's my second negotiation. I can't negotiate anymore this turn. These come back. Remember that 1 was from that because I resolved that starbase. I'm rolling 2, 4 and a 5. Ooh, 6 and a 2. Interesting. Can I just do this? That's a 5. I can use this. I can use that there. I have this here. And then this is a total of 14. I can... I'm gonna need more fleet. I can do this here. I can make these 2 into a black 2. So that counts for this. I promise it's there. Can you all see that? All right, that's 14. That's 16. So I needed 5 and 16. So I have 6 and 16. So we're good there. And now I have these 2 here. I will... no black dice, pink dice. Okay, black. I think I want this tech would probably be... No, I could... Yeah, this tech will be probably a little easier. So I'm gonna research one of these 2 puppies. Oh, I could... Oh, yeah. I could get my starbase up to level 4, which I think will be a good... All right, so resolving location, that gets 2. Then we're going to... So I didn't like taking the influence off there to get the blues, but I just felt like I had an opportunity to do that. This made sense. We're going to then do our starbase. This gets 2 more fleet, so this is up to 3. We do this. I can research a place and play that I only had 2 dice there, so it has to be a 2er. And then I'm going to spend this 12 influence, or this 12 science. Remember, I'm going to need to spend science to get the yellow, so we are going to want to be quick there because we are running out of yellows in our supply, but that's fine. We're now at starbase 4. Starbase 4 is nice because now I'll have 4 of these blue things to use as I need, which is helpful. And remember, I can use them as stars. These will come off. These will come off. We're going to now resolve the confrontation card for the first time this game. So we actually got to this level. This comes off. And now we have kind of a get out of jail free. If we are going to be overwhelmed, I could spend that. So I really needed that event not to come off last turn because I would have lost. But now I have multiple things protecting me. My Federation level is up, and now I have one of these red things preventing 1 instance of overwhelm. So that was the end of the results phase. We're going to go here. The adversary event now reveals. All right, resource scarcity. Add a yellow, a pink, a blue, and a star. Yellow, pink, blue, and a star to the horde. Then the adversary gains this card as a bonus colony. So they have 2 colonies. Am I dead? Nope. My Federation level, remember, is what? My Federation level is a 2. So that prevents me from croaking. All right, the way these line up in here gets a little rough. Now what? We're gonna discard 2. Now we so we did the adversary event. We're gonna discard 2 cards. 1, 2. We add an influence. We add influence to encounters. We resolve encounters. Then we do the end of the effect, end of the event. So there's 3 influence. We discard the 3 influence, and they gain another colony. It's a yellow pink. Man, I need to get those yellows back. All right. My turn, or the event phase, I should say. Well, discover phase, we're going to add this. It's another location. All dice here must have different values. That's an interesting one. We're going to have 3 yellows, 2 pink, 5 blue, and only 1 of these. We are going to get those back. We'll be able to get another thing done, which is nice. And then we should really be able to knock off all of our Federation stuff. So I'm rolling just the 10 dice that I've had since the beginning of the game. You see how these texts kind of make up for that. So I got blues, I got 2 1s, 2 3s, and a 4. Pinks, I got a 3 and a 4, a 3 and a 5. And then the yellows, I have a 2, a 4, and a 5. No 6s, which is super helpful. So I have Federation level 2, so I could confront the adversary again. I need a 6, 6, 20, or I need 6, 6, and 8 fleet. As you can see, I have not been swimming in fleet here, so not the easiest. I'm going to do this probe, because remember, to get those yellows back, I'm going to need some science. So that was just a 2er. Our string of 4s is done. I might just take that 4 to know I have the 6 to get those yellows back next turn, because I am going to need them. This is not the greatest roll to get those stars back, but I'm going to do that and still have enough to activate some text, I think. So, because I'm going to get 6 there. So 7. Yeah, I'll have the 7 I need to really get this level of my favorite. You can do these in any order, which is good. And I do want to get another tech eventually. So let's start working toward this. 5, 5. I'm going to use this tech to roll 2 pink. Because again, I have 2 of those resources. It's a 4, 5. I'm going to use this tech to get a yellow 6. So I don't have any more yellow. I could do it this way. I'm going to do these 2, 4. I'm going to resolve my starbase. These get discarded, so now they're back and available. I get 2 more fleet. Then I'm going to use this tech to get a yellow 6. I already launched a probe. I just forgot to put a thing on there. So I need 20 in dice total. So that's ding, ding. That's fine. 10. 20. This will work out well. So 10, 20. So I'm spending 20 plus for all stars. So I'm going to spend these 20. These go away. Making sure I do my math right. Yep, that's indeed 20. And that's going to give me all of the stars. I get half rounded down. So I get 6, or rounded up. 5 go back here. And then I'm going to spend 7 stars, including this. I'm just using them for nothing else but this purpose. They're spent. I'll get them back next turn. I don't know why I'm putting them over to the left, because that's what I do when I'm not playing on camera, I guess. But they're spent, and that's going to allow me to do this level of my Federation. Now note, by doing, now on Federation 3, this tech on my society become stronger. I can spend the thing to launch a probe or study a location. So I can study even a 4, right? That's a super nice benefit, which I probably will actually next turn to clear off those yellows. Then I have a pair of 1s and a pair of 3s, which is great. That's the end of my round. So I just need 5 tech. We're getting close to the 20 dice because of my tech, so there's things that we can do. I've really found these abilities on the societies, like they're very easy to forget you have, and they're very, very, very strong. All right, so resolving location. So this, we get 4 influence here. Resolving the star base, I get 5 more fleet. So all of a sudden, this is becoming pretty realistic. It's coming off the board, but that's fine. So now I have 9 fleet. All right, that's cool. We are not doing a confrontation card, so that's the end of the round. This will come here, and I did 4 techs again. We go to the adversary phase. There's no adversary event. We discard 2 because time passes. We add an influence. There's no encounter cards. There's no encounter cards to resolve. End of the phase. We're going to gather 3 yellows, 2 pinks, 2 blues, and 3 stars. I'm hoping at least one of these yellows is not a is a 2 or a 1. So this is a 2. This is a 2. This is a 1. These go back to our pool or our supply. These dice will stay. That will go there. All right, I'm going to gather my pool. So I only get 1 yellow, 2 pink, 5 blue, 2 stars. Rolling the dice. So again, getting 20 in my pool is becoming increasingly distant. So 6, 5. So we got a 6 yellow, 2 pink 4s. What are the pink for? The blues are 3, 3, 5, 5, 6. All right. So I'm going to. These can come back here. I'm going to use a tech. Spend us, and I'm level 3 now. So I'm going to spend a fleet to study a location. Now that happens during my action phase. I'm going to now spend 6 science to get all of the yellows back. So that's one of my 2 negotiation opportunities. I roll 4, put 3 back in the supply. So 2, 3, 3, and 5. It's very similar to Spirit Island 2, where it's like when you get to this turning point where you're like, okay, I think I'm okay. I think we got it. All right. I'm going to use this tech to get a yellow 6. I'm going to use this yellow 6 and this yellow 6 and spend 8 fleet. I have to use the blue for this, but remember I could use 2 stars. I don't have that many stars, but now we're going to clear that, which now it's going to make him a 4, which means with every time he rolls the dice, he's only keeping half the dice he rolls. Advanced math. I do think I get this tech now, so I'm going to turn these 2 5s into a black 5, 5, 5. So that's going to be 6 influence there, which is super nice. Must fill the top roll first. Yeah. And I'm going to need a bundle of fleet. A bundle of fleet, kids. Tell them what we've won. I'm going to use this for here. I'm going to roll 2 pinks. It's on the edge. Oh, double 6. Remembering just sometimes just loading this up can be helpful because we are absolutely going to need to get those blues back again at some point. So 5 2 5 2 3 3, and we are going to need to replenish our fleet supply because remember that's like 24-5-5. Probably be doable. I'm not resolving the starbase, obviously. I could do some probes. I could do that 3 times. Not sure what I'm really using science for anymore, though. So, okay, my base is already fully loaded. So we're going to use a pair. That was a 3, I promise. We could fill this. Again, we're going to need to get those blues back at some point. And we will just do 1 probe. So resolving locations. So that's this. That's our 6th influence. Now, good thing too is the more we can fill this deck up before it gets to the bottom again, the more life we'll have the next time around. I will take this as a tech because I'm going to need to activate 5 techs at some point still to get to adversary level here. And slowly working our way toward 20 in our dice pool. These will go away. We're going to resolve this. That's 1 influence. Resolving this. That's 1 influence. Resolving this. That's 5 fleet. 1, 2, 3. Ruh-roh. 4, 5. So we did just put a bunch of extra cards out. And now we are resolving this. We have another get out of jail free card. We go to the next round. Now again, we're in the same spot, exactly right number. Beginning of the phase, there are no adversary events out. We have to discard 2. Oh, we can't. Now the adversary event comes out, and we go from there. Oh. I would not have. I did a probe. I would not have. I just forgot to resolve that. I would not have done that probe. I would have just taken 1 more fleet because there's no way I would want to get that adversary event. The more time we have between adversary events, the better. So that probe just wasn't absolutely necessary to do this turn, so we didn't do it. All right, this goes back on top of the adversary events. We flip over 2, 1, 2. I knew I was forgetting something. This becomes an influence here. We do an influence on encounters. There are no encounters to resolve, and then we're going to roll the dice. Right, I got all those back. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I was like, where did everything go? I got them back. So 1, 2, 3. Rolling these dice. Again, anything, only 4, 5s, and 6s remain. That's a 1, that's a 2, that's a 1, that's a 2, that's a 3. What an amazing roll. So they just got 1 die. Yeah, Needle Wobbers, you suck. Cool. Gathering dice. 3, 2, 5. There's our 10 dice. Same 10 dice we've had since the beginning of the game. But you see how these techs can make a really alternative strategy. 2, 3, 6. I was seeing if I could possibly get 20 in my pool. I'm going to be close, but I can't. Oh, discover phase 1 and 2. Now, important to say, when you study your location, you can only study locations. You can't study encounters. That was a rule the rule book should have been a little bit clearer about. It just said a card in play, but then somewhere else it says encounters, and you're like, all right, well, great. Okay, so I guess thematically it makes sense, but it definitely was a rule I was playing around for a little bit. How dare I? All right, 3, 3, 1, 5, 6, 2, 6, 3, 4, 6. I'm going to. Ooh, I like science. All right, I'm going to spend this to study this location. I'm going to spend this to roll 2 pinks. 3, 5. What was this? 6, 6, 28. Huh. I am Federation 3. It's something to consider. I'm going to spend this. I could gain a green, yellow 6. I'm just going to actually spend 2 fleet to roll 2 yellows and a black. It's my other option there. 3, 5, 4. Yeah, blacks are wild. That was a 6. I get these flips way too easily, man. These are one of the reasons I put them in order. I'm going to spend this to roll a yellow, and for each thing I can return a card. Do you think to roll a yellow? I don't think that's going to make sense. 3, 6, 6, 6, 28. 16. Ah, man, 28 is going to be very far from that 28. 24, 5, 5. I think I actually have a shot at that. But then I wouldn't be doing that. I have 15 dice on my dice pool. So I was thinking if I could potentially do this turn, but then I would not be I would not be I would not have I would not be activating my 5th tech. So I'm not going to do this because I would have to use 2 of those things to do it that way. So we're just going to chill on that. But I will so I'm debating whether I could do return 3 dice to roll more yellows, but again, I don't even have that many more yellows on the supply. So I think this is fine. So I'd have to return a die though. I could return a yellow to roll another yellow. So I'm going to roll a yellow. It's a 4. And the question is, do I want to return dice to roll more? I just don't. So we're good there. And I will be activating that 5th tech to get my last, to get to Federace level 4. Take a quick break. All right. Table out Troubadour, DJ Greg in the house with the phones, shades, and lit. Loving it. Yeah. Well, uh, and lid. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. The shades are a choice that is kind of being made for me, but it's another story altogether. All right, yeah, just I'm getting a lot of ocular migraines. They produce the prevalence of those, which is nice. It's nice to be able to see, especially when you're streaming. All right, let's do this. God, let's fill top row first. 6628 is just nuts. Yep. 6 6. That's 12. I could do that. Yeah, let me do that. All right, 6 6. We're just gonna do 6628 this way. So 5. That's 12. So I need to get 16 more. Can I do it? Can I do it? I think I can. Because just trying to get the doing it this way, it's so freaking dice intensive in a way that makes me mad. Well, not mad, but so I need 16 more. This counts. So I need 12 more. 4 4 5 5 3 3. That would be 12 more. 4 5 3. And what I'm gonna do is then I'm gonna spend this to make this a 3. And then I'm going to use this to resolve my starbase now. Discard any dice. That gives me 3 more things. So again, that trade is I spent 1 fleet to basically be able to turn one die to help me get 3 fleets, so it was a good exchange for me. And now I have 5 activated techs, so that gives me Federation level 4. And then this last die I'm just going to put here. So carrying out the results phase, I didn't do anything on locations. I did do this, which gives me another fleet. I don't know if we're going to get the Federation level 5 with this setup. Getting the 20 dice in my pool, but I didn't take any colonies. I just been taking techs. That's going to be hard. But again, won't really need to, I don't think. I think we'll be okay. We're now going to do the confrontation card. All these dice come off. This did equal 28. And now we get another get out of jail free card. And I'm already Federation level 4, so I could, in theory, go for the win next turn. We'll see if the dice cooperate. I do like getting the Federation level of 5. It just feels good, but I don't know if that's meant to be right now. We go to the results phase is done. We go to here. Bam. Reduce the star base to its previous class. So this goes away. That's dirty. Right now, Federation, we're at Starbase level 3. These adversary events can be brutal. Alright. Then the adversary gains this card as a bonus colony. So another yellow. That's 4 colonies for it. Next thing we do is discard 2 cards. Next thing we do is we add an influence. We add an influence to any counters. There are none. End of the adversary phase. This goes away. And we're adding another colony. It's a pink blue. All right, my turn. If I can get this done this turn, I think it makes sense to go for the discover phase and now action phase. So we're gathering 3 dice, 2 dice, 5 dice, 2 stars, which are there. Rolling. Not exactly close. Could get this. To get 2 more dice, we'll just like, yeah, I'm really struggling. If I get 35, I could potentially win this turn, I think. Let's see how these yellows roll. All right, so yellows roll. Well, 6, 6, 4. 1, 3. 1, 1. Yeah, I think I can get this done this turn if I can get enough fleets here. And then 2, 3, 4. I went down a class. Those jerks. I'm going to use this to roll 2 pinks. 3, 4. I'm going to use this to roll a yellow. And then I can return things to roll more yellows, which I think's going to make some sense. Yellow, it's a 3. And then I'm going to return these 3. Because I have 3 of those to roll. Oh. I'm gaining a yellow 6. I want the 3 ones. Actually, I'm just going to return 1 of these to roll a yellow. So returning this to roll another yellow. It's a 6. Oh, that's ridiculous. I'm going to use this. Oh, I'm not going to have enough. Oh, that really screwed me. I'm not going to have enough. Yeah, so because I'm down a class, I'm not going to have enough stars to do this, because I was going to need to resolve the star base and then do the 2 on here. So the second turn in a row where I just ended up doing this. So I'm just gonna do this, spend the 2 fleet, roll 2 yellows and a black. 255. Yeah, there's no way I'm getting up to 35. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Doing anything to spend there just doesn't make any sense. I think I just get a billion fleet, and then I'll have next turn to just jam this all the way home. But I'm of course I'm rolling 4 yellow dice next turn, which is a little interesting. I could grab that. If I do, all right, so 111. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I mean, it's getting to 20 dice is so insane, dude. Oh, that would be great because I have that. I'd be able to basically add 4 dice to my pool, but yeah, it's not. It's not meant to be. So 3, 3, 3, 3. I'm gonna spend this 4 to do this. All dice need to be at different values. All dice narrate at different values. We're going to get. Do I have? I do. So 4, 4, 4, 3, 3. 1. Yeah, then I just think I clear that off, get the 9. Great. I'm going to activate my starbase now. That's going to be 9 new things. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 9 fleet. I have no more tech, so I can't even launch the probe, which is fine. But I'm going to need 14 of these for next turn. And right now that is 13, which is very off the thing. But, and then I'll get, I'm going to need some science. So I will probe, and then get 1 more fleet. All right, we're carrying this out. That adds another research. That's, or 2 research. That's 3 research. I'm going to gain this as a. I'm going to gain this as a colony. Look at me doing something new. We're going to resolve this. It's another fleet. That's actually 14. And then I'm going to do 2 probes because I might need the 6 science to get my yellows back. So I'm going to get 1 probe. So again, I did 2 dice twice to get 2 probes. And a second probe. Oh, 8 science. Look at you. Didn't do the confrontation card. We now go to the adversary phase. There's no adversary event. We discard 2. These come back. We discard 2. 1, 2. We add an influence. We ended the adversary. There's no encounters. Entity of the thing. We're going to gather 4 yellows. We're going to gather 3 pinks. Gather 3 blues. We add 3 of these. Rolling these dice. 2, 2, 2, 2, 3 do not get added. but these get added. These get added. Discover phase, this comes out. It's another encounter. First one of those in a while. Now we gather our pool. So 3, 3, 5. There's 11 dice, and we get 3 of these. And there are 3 left. We're going to roll these dice. All right, that's a good start. 6, 6, 3. That's on the corner. There's a 5. So 1, 4, 4, 5, 5 for the blues. And then 1, 5, 6 for the pink. Now, if you play 2 players, just to note, both people would have to be at Federation level 4 to actually win the game. But yeah, I think we got this covered. We're going to spend 6 science as our first negotiation of the round to get 2 of these back. There, 2 of these to the pool. That's a good roll. Oh, can I get I might just do it. Yeah, we'll do it the hard way. We're going to do this. Spending 4 fleet. That's my second negotiation. I want to be Federation level 5. So that's 15 dice. Watch me. I'm getting a little too cocky. I'm sure I did something wrong. We're gonna do this. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these now. So I'm actually rolling 3 dice instead of the 2. 1, 2, 3, 4 just happen to be the same resource. All right. That was a 5. I don't remember what this was. I mean, I'll say it was a 2. I don't remember. I know it wasn't a 1. We're gonna gain a yellow. So, yeah, I'm gonna gain a yellow 6. Or I'm gonna roll a yellow die. It's a 1, and then I can return a yellow. Turn a die to roll a yellow. I'll return one of these 1s to roll a yellow. It's a 2, killing it. And then we're going to do this to gain a yellow 6. And that's 3, 8, 15. That's 20 dice in my pool, which gives me the last Federation level. So now I can launch a probe and or study a location. So I'm going to need to get 4 more fleet, which is doable. So I just need, well, what is this number? So that's a lot. That is a lot of 6s people. So that's 5. That's actually 35 right there. Beautiful. That was really good rolling with the yellows. Well, 1 I just added the 6, but still. That goes there. This goes here. And this is why you see the power of the elements, just to be able to activate your starbase whatever the heck you want. We'll just get all the fleet. Why not? I'm going to activate my starbase. We're going to get 9 fleet. Those all go away. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, adversary event. But we won't have to deal with that till the next adversary phase. Five. Those are all fleet. Now we're going to spend 35 white or yellow. It's like white. It's just very different. That's 35. We're going to spend 7 fleet, 7 fleet. So we're going to spend 14 fleet total. Again, you can always make exact change with fleet. We have these 2 tokens now, so that's done. This would come down here. We just have a bunch of extra dice, which I'll just study a location. With that, we go to the confrontation card. We have done that, and we win. Whee! And I'd never used any of those suckers, which is super nice. Cool. No, that's again right, literally down to that one card early. Just catching that, like, oh, do not let that adversary event reveal, because we would have been overwhelmed and we didn't have any of those tokens. So again, there's like that moment early, a couple moments early where you're really skating, especially against these higher levels. Um, that definitely went a little longer than I expected. Needle wobblers are kind of intense. You could expect this game probably be like an under an hour when you're not like blabbing away into the ether. Um, I was thinking about maybe doing it twice today, but I just don't think that's going to happen right now. But the other adversaries they're all super cool. The Preservation Authority, they do this thing with they start gathering their resources. So all you care about is those resources, and then they have a certain number. If they ever have too many of the same resource, that triggers a whole bunch of bad things. The Hungry Nebula just starts like consuming, taking cards out of the deck real fast. I mean, the first thing you do when you start is like discard 10 cards against the higher level. The Dark Star Syndicate, they're trying to do like they have all these events and research projects they're trying to do, so you have to like undo those. But every time you like take care of the research project, it adds to what you need to add to them to be able to get their adversary card the right way, because their adversary card's only one's confrontation, the other is just a way to block you from getting toward winning the game. The optimization calibrator is real cool. Like it just adds dice, kind of like the needle woober, but like you have to put dice. You have to add a certain number of dice, and they have to be higher than any dice that are there. But then there's ways that you get them back, and you can set up these really big turns with them. The whole system's just brilliant. I'm very um, it's sad for the design team, like, because even if you look at their latest Kickstarter, where it's like you can go all in for one deck dungeon, and there's 4 different boxes. That's like whatever the heck it was, and there's like a big box to keep it all together. It's great, but one deck Galaxy was nowhere, anywhere found on their game bound page, and I thought that was like super interesting. It's like because it's still in that same universe. It wasn't even like an add-on that I saw, and I just think that's unfortunate where they just haven't they didn't this game did not get enough love for them to continue the line. But I just really, really, really impressed with the system and the design, and just think it's a giant leap forward from a game design. Now, One Deck Dungeon is still fun. I'll still play with my friends, but this gives me so much more of like a meaty puzzle that I really enjoy. Might not make as interesting a video or as fun a video, because it really is like you're really trying to math it out. I mean, again, I keep saying it. There is something about this game that just hits so much like Spirit Island for me, and the feel it gives me, um, in like 1/10 of the setup. Um, and I'm not gonna say like, no, this is a top 5 game for me, but like this is definitely one of the bigger surprises I've ever had in gaming, where I just was like wasn't expecting much, and ended up being like, oh my gosh, like I love this game, and what it does, and the zaniness of the art, and I mean some of these things are just, again, there's a space tomato, like what is happening. But it's really, really clever. I do worry a little bit. I mean, there's so much scalability you could do. Whereas like Spirit Island has that infinite scalability, which is going to make you keep coming back. Like, I don't know how many times I would lose if I played even against the harder adversaries. I think when you really understand what you're about, like this is the tech society. Like, just get the tech. Don't worry about colonies. The tech will give you extra dice. You'll find a way to make it happen. And then all of the adversaries do have like, we're gonna punish you, punish you, punish you. Oh, we're gonna give you one opportunity to have a chance to do some other stuff. Like, I mean, you saw I just dumped 4 dice into my pool in that last round just to get the adversary level. I could have won without getting the Federation 5. Personally, like that's like an extra goal for me. That's like I really won, right? That's my version of scoring, I guess, where I like being at Federation level 5. I do wonder that maybe with the harder adversaries, that would be like variants you could play to like make it harder. Because there are sometimes like getting to that Federation level 5 is just insanely difficult. Um, but I think that's about as tough as a combo as it gets between, again, they care about dice, they care about text. Now sometimes there is some synergy, but sometimes that's not always the case. Man, the botanists are crazy. Yeah, some of these are the Guardians are probably a brutally hard society, because they actually make you exile colonies. So you take a colony and then you have to exile colonies with certain like attributes. Um, but to give back to that, you can ignore all restrictions. And then it also allows you ways to just like set your dice to whatever you want, so you can just always get a 6. But they're probably the hardest society that I've found. Um, there's definitely a timing mechanic with them. The mathematicians are cool, where they require you to have a certain amount of research influence out, then you exact number of science, an exact number of fleet. Um, and then you're just at one point you're just like discarding an insane amount of dice with an insane amount of pips. It's like 6 discard dice that equals 66. Like, oh, like what? Um, so some of these don't all feel equal to me, but I think that's very spirit on it for me. So for me, it's like, all right, so I played the elements of the scientist, like, and I played against the needle wobblers, neeble woobers. Now the next time I play, like, I'll randomize just out of the 4 remaining of each of the 3 things, right? And just find these combos. There, somebody, I think it was Tom Chick, wrote a comment. So there is like a whole like campaign thing. There's 24 unique campaign sheets. Like every single one of these sheets is different. Um, and they all provide you a different campaign experience. I haven't explored these. I don't know. Like I never explored the campaign with One Dig Dungeon either. I always found that a little goofy, but there are ways to like score it and kind of beat your own score to figure out what your rank is, and I, you know, we know how. So it definitely misses me on a couple of um, planes, but yeah, I can't recommend this game enough, man. I mean, it's for the price. Get the deluxe edition if you can for the quality. It will last a longer. The only thing with the deluxe edition, both Tony and I had this, where the way it's stored, the elements actually are going to be a little warped because they were at the top, and the wrapping, the shrink wrap is a little bit too tight, so it just kind of warped that on top. But the rest of them are super flat. So that's the only card I would worry about, and I'm sure I could drop this in hot water and get it back if I really wanted to. But it works. We'll just slowly mold it over time. But yeah, this is a cool game. I mean, questions, comments, epiphanies, thoughts, reasons why you like One Deck Dungeon more if you've played them both. Um, I'm super, super curious. But again, at the end of this, remember, he had 5 colonies. He was about to add a 6th. At that point, he would have moved 3 of these here, then had another pink. I mean, the other adversary cards here, this one would have been, he just gains this card. There's no special effect, but that card gives him a bunch of stuff. And then this one, you have to exile some things, which is gross. And when you upgrade, yeah, and you're exiling means kicks out of the game. And the one thing that's different too, remember when you level up in One Deck Dungeon, those cards come out of the game. That's not the same case in One Deck Galaxy, for sure. But then so you have to exile some stuff, and then he gains this, and now he's just getting stars, right? The hard counter I had, the scientist really helped against because I was like, all right, I don't need the stars as long as my star base was up, because then I was able to use these. And again, it's that puzzle. It's like, all right, how can I see what the adversary is trying to do and just find ways to work around it? And there was kind of the scientist really gave me a built-in workaround, which was super nice. But I think again, it's like that's that puzzle, right? That's what kind of brings us back to these games where you're like, oh, what can I do now? Oh, I could do that. Like that wasn't exactly a strategy I've ever been able to pull off to that level before. So, but that's it. So I could yam around for a while. This has been real. I will be back. I might put a quick Torum on the channel next week if I have a 4 hour block that I can commit to it. Really enjoying exploring Victorum. I'm gonna play I think one more game with the OG rules. Um, and then I think I'm just gonna always play quick Torum. Like it's just too long. I just I don't know. I mean, it's too long in a way it's not. It's like it's one thing to play Zeds at the super long levels, but you're adding levels of intrigue and depth and survivability. Um, this isn't that uh, in my experience yet. I mean, it's almost like if you could take out one of the chapters, but then you probably wouldn't be strong enough to face the Primus. I mean, like, yeah, it's tough. It's a rough thing they did. But you know, that's chip theory. It's what they do. It's things that make you go but somehow they how to design games that are good enough that despite their flaws, people will want to play them all the time. Yeah, it's kind of a it's a it's a marvelous skill they have. But that was that. You know, I'm sure I made a rules mistake here or there, but if anyone catches anything, obviously put them in the comments below. That's be super great. I'll be back hopefully next week, if not, probably the week after that. But you know, it's been real. So until next time, happy gaming.